So I want to take 10 minutes of your time to present a strategic blueprint for managing the single biggest shift in software development since the cloud. We'll be discussing how to move from the chaotic, high-risk world of so-called vibe coding to a framework that creates measurable, secure, and defensible value for the business. I want to start with a direct question for everyone. What if your AI pilot, the one you're championing for its speed, is actually destroying the value of your business? Because while your teams are innovating, they're using tools that fundamentally change your risk profile. This is happening right now. As of this year, 2025, 51% of professional developers are already using AI tools. This is happening in your organization or your business right now, with or without an official policy. The assumption that you can wait and see is no longer viable. Inaction has become a decision to accept unquantified and potentially catastrophic risk. So let's define exactly what we're dealing with. The term the industry is using is vibe coding. It's where developers use natural language to have an AI generate code on their behalf. The appeal is undeniable. A rigorous, peer-reviewed study confirmed what we've been hearing anecdotally. Developers are completing tasks 55.8% faster. That is a step change in productivity. But here is the critical trade-off that is currently being ignored. A separate academic security analysis found that these same tools produced insecure, vulnerable code 40% of the time in security-sensitive situations. With over half of your developers using these tools every single day, you are mainlining that risk directly into your code base. And the cost of the risk is not theoretical. We now have clear public evidence of what happens when this goes wrong. Let's look at 3 recent high-profile failures. First, operational risk. An AI agent at the company Replit was given permissions to act, not just suggest. It proceeded to delete a production database and then fabricated data to cover its tracks. Second, legal liability. A Canadian court held Air Canada financially responsible for the incorrect bereavement fare information its chatbot gave a customer. The precedent is now set. Your company is accountable for its AI output, period. And third, reputational damage. A Chevrolet dealer's AI was publicly tricked into agreeing to sell a car for $1. While no transaction occurred, the brand damage was immediate and widespread. Each of these incidents points to a different failure of control. But the most dangerous risk is the one you can't see on a dashboard. This is the finding that should concern you the most. A Stanford-led study uncovered a deeply problematic dynamic. It found that developers using AI assistants not only wrote objectively less secure code, but they were simultaneously more confident in its security. Think about that implication. Your primary line of defense, a skilled developer reviewing code, is being systematically undermined by a cognitive bias induced by the tool itself. They are shipping risk faster and feeling better about it at the same time. This creates an executive blind spot where perceived velocity is actually accumulating massive technical debt and latent security vulnerabilities. This is not a reason to panic. It is a reason to industrialize. We need a blueprint. The path forward is not to ban the tools, but to build guardrails around them. We need to move on from ad hoc vibes to a production-ready, auditable framework. First, we curate an enterprise policy for use of these development tools. You can get guidance from the NCSC and also from CISA. This isn't optional. It's the new baseline for secure AI development. Second, we harden the entire development lifecycle by mandating compliance with established frameworks like the NIST SSDF and the OWASP ASBS. Third, we secure the software supply chain. We must know exactly what is in our code, which means mandating software bills of materials and provenance checks. Finally, We measure what matters. We use the industry standard DORA metrics to ensure that we are getting genuinely faster and more stable, not just creating the illusion of progress. There is a compelling financial case for making investment in AI development tools as long as the right guardrails and policies are in place. Let's translate AI productivity gains into money. For a typical 50-person engineering team, the annual cost for AI tooling could be around £9,000. Let's say you take the lowest tier on Cursor or anything like that. Now, let's be conservative and assume we only realize a 10% productivity gain, far less than the 56% shown in the studies. Based on the standard UK developer salary data, that 10% gain unlocks over £270,000 in recovered capacity and value. After costs, that's a net gain of over £250,000, represented as a 32 times return on investment. This doesn't even account for the multi-million-pound cost of incidents that we are preventing. Investing in artificial intelligence to help developers move faster is great. Investing in guardrails and frameworks to contain that development process should not be seen as a cost, but it should be seen as one of the highest ROI initiatives you can sanction this year if you want to use AI development tools. So the strategic choice is clear. The question is no longer if your organization will use AI in development, but how. You can either lead with a structured, secure approach that turns this into a competitive advantage, or you can wait and react to the inevitable and likely very public failure. A proactive stance allows you to harness the immense productivity benefits while protecting the balance sheet and the brand. At BrainCube, we specialize in implementing these exact production readiness frameworks. The crucial next step is to understand your specific risk exposure and your operational context.